Hello everyone, I'm programming my own pixel art editor from scratch. It's part of Saket Studio, which is a larger software concept I'm developing. It has one very special feature, it's multiplayer. This is Devlog number 2, let's get into it. I want to share with you what I've been working on since the last episode. Firstly, I fixed some bugs, then I could use my own software to make my own avatar for these devlogs. Secondly, I added layers. Layers was one big feature missing from my pixel art editor. A feature which literally all other drawing programs have. I first designed a mock-up with Affinity Designer and I ended up with this. What I really like about this design is how it maximizes the use of space. Since the program is multiplayer, UI is a little bit more tricky. I think I was able to create a visual distinction between the local solo and mute button and the online visibility toggle. Also, I really like the transparency knob and how it turned out. It shows transparency in two different ways, by the transparency of the middle circle and by filling out the donut shape. Now, when it comes to programming, things become a little more complicated. When actually implementing a design, it's never as easy as designing it. And based on your tools, it might not turn out as you expect. At least that's what happened in my case. This is what I created. There's a whole new sidebar with a bunch of new stuff. As you can see, the result does look like the original design. But it has all the functionality you would expect from a drawing program, with lots of blend modes as well. However, I'm not entirely happy with the user interface of my software. Far from it. There's a technical reason behind this. You see, I'm making Saket Studio in C# and rendering with WebGPU. All of this is done in my own game engine, aptly named Saket Engine. Because everything is made from scratch, I've had to come up with my own UI solution. I tried to program my own to begin with. I wanted to make something very good. That's when I realized it's probably gonna take many months. I'm not trying to make a UI library, I'm making a software. If I was to make a UI system, that in and of itself would become the product. That's why I decided to use something called Dear I Am GUI. It's super easy to get started with, however it's not known for being aesthetically pleasing. It's made for game developers to use for their own tools, meaning it was never designed with the goal of being at the user end. Dear I Am GUI is great, don't get me wrong, however it doesn't have the features I want and the layouting is just not up to snuff. So if I Am GUI doesn't fit my needs, and I'm not willing to make my own, where does that leave the software? Well, I think there might be a solution right over the horizon. PanGUI is everything my UI library wanted to be. PanGUI is being developed by Cernix, the folks that are behind Odin Inspector. If you don't know, it's a very popular plugin for Unity that fixes a very important pain point. Funnily enough, they are also Danish and associated with the Danish incubator GameHub. PanGUI is not released yet, however it seems like it will fit my needs perfectly. It's all signed distant fields, making it smooth. I mean, just look at that UI. I'm not usually one to wait around for other people to solve my problem. However, with the promise of PanGUI releasing right around the corner, I'm not going down the UI programming rabbit hole anytime again soon. Depending on the licensing, I will probably switch as soon as it comes out. I just hope my current negligence in making the UI pretty will not hurt the micability too much. I hope people can see past the looks of the program and still decide to give it a try. So now I have some ugly UI and layers. What else did I add? Well, the problem is that so far the only file you can open are single layer file formats, like PNG or JPEG, meaning that the image will be flattened when you save it, making layers a little pointless. So then I wanted to add support for multi-layer formats. To do that, I implemented file formats from other programs. That way people can switch to my program easier from those programs. The first I looked at was Aseprite. Aseprite is probably the most well-known pixel art editor. So naturally I wanted to add support for .asprite files. Luckily it's open source and it's available to buy on Steam, so I bought the program to support the developers and I made a file to test on. The file format is binary, consisting of a header and multiple chunks. It was actually fairly easy to make a parser for it. So now you can open and edit Aseprite files with Saket Studio. Isn't that freaking cool though? Now you can open and edit Aseprite files online multiplayer. Why stop there though? Pyxel Edit is another popular pixel art editor, however it's paid and not open source, so adding support for it is a little more tricky. However, luckily it's quite a simple format. A pixel file is simply an archived file with a JSON and some PNG images. Without much documentation I managed to make it work. It still doesn't fully work when you try to create a Pyxel file within Saket Studio. I'm not exactly sure why. I spent a lot of time decompiling the program to figure it out, but to no avail. I'll probably try again later. To complement the new file types, I also added icons to the file browser signifying which file it is. With all of that, Alpha 2 just launched. If you wanna try this out for yourself, you can download it today as a supporter. If you find this interesting, consider subscribing. And if you want to support me as an independent software developer, consider becoming a member on Ko-Fi. As a supporter, you can always get access to the newest alpha version. That was all. Thanks for watching. See you next time.